We are about 30,000 Jews in Italy, maybe something less. But as we are Italians, also not only Jews, we are allowed to say we are 50,000, 60,000. And maybe this is to justify we have so many Italian Jewish kosher restaurants in Rome and Milano and in Florence. We have many. But the Italian people who are not Jews think that we are 1 million, and we let them think about this. In my own community, the Jewish community in Milan, in which I was the president many years ago, we are about 7,000. And 16,000 in Rome, which is the oldest Jewish community abroad in the diaspora, and some other thousands of Jews in Florence, in Turin, Venice, in Bologna, and some other places. But I must also say that while I was in the school age, we were 1,000 in the Jewish school in Milan. Now we are 500. So the number of Jews in Italy, maybe except from Rome, it's dramatically decreasing. So for us, maybe the question could be not, for many of our communities, not which kind of future will be for us, as it can be how long will be our future in the Jewish communities in Italy. I must say that one of the most important points that I want to speak with you about our future, about the future of the Jewish diaspora, at least of the little Jewish diasporas, not of the Americans one maybe, is the question of the identity and education. Let me say I am the son of an Auschwitz survivor. I never know anyone from my father's family. All of them were murdered in Auschwitz, in Birkenau. And the family of my father was almost assimilated. The family of my mother was much more involved in the synagogue and in the Jewish life. We are 3 brothers. They had 3 children. My oldest brother lives in Milan. His oldest son lives in Tel Aviv. His daughter lives in Amsterdam. His youngest daughter lives in Milan. My second brother lives in New York, and his daughter lives in New York too. And I have 2 children. They are in Milan. They did study in the Jewish school. They belong to a Jewish youth movement, Shomer HaTzair. Also in a Jewish family, we do practice many kinds of way of being Jewish. So I think that the most important point for us is to struggle for a common, open Jewish vision for our communities. Open vision for our communities. Let's open all the doors of our communities in the diaspora for any kind of Jew we know. I don't think there is one kind of Jew that can judge, can say if someone else, some other Jew, is more or less Jew than him. And I think that we have in the diaspora at least in the Italian diaspora, as I know, many invisible Jews. Jews that they are not in the age of the school, that they don't have children in the school age, that they don't have parents in the elderly house age. They feel they are Jews, but they are invisible for most of the Jewish institutions. We have to reach them. we need an inclusive vision for our communities, to include people, not to exclude people, all the Jews that want to belong to the Jewish people. Because we are more than the number that we can count in our institutions. And I think this is the second point, that we have to work hardly for a new Jewish leadership. And I think that a new Jewish leadership, a new young leadership, will succeed, will fulfill the goal of continuity of Judaism if this leadership will, if we will succeed in reaching all these invisible Jews. These two goals, the goal of an open vision of our identity and the goal of building up a new leadership, are two main goals to fulfill the duty of the continuity of Judaism abroad in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those important words, and I'd like to elaborate on them a bit later in the discussion. But let me turn to you, Professor Judith Liverant. The image of Mexican Jews is one of a wealthy, well-established community that has good ties with the government in Israel. Is this a stereotypical description? Is the community really prospering? How do you see the future of Mexico's Jews?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Steve, because when you organized this session, you posed before us some very interesting questions, challenges, and how we see it. But let me start sharing with you a feeling that I'm having all these last 2 days. Do you remember The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, right? The Anasija Catán. Okay, there, the Little Prince says that adults people, usually what they want is facts and numbers. They have a very quantitative approach to life. Usually, when you meet another adult person, he asks you, where do you live? How old are you? But now, what I feel is that the first question is, how many Jews are in Mexico? How many Jews are in Italy? So either demography became really, which I think a very, very challenging problem, or our friends, the demographers, have made the cause of it. Now,
you better tell us how many Jews there are in Mexico.
Well, I'll start saying, let me address, and yes, I will tell. You already asked me, Steve. I will tell, but I will tell this, and I will go to numbers, right? When you ask today how many Jews are in Mexico or how many Jews are in Latin America, you have to look with a new perspective. In Latin America today, there are close to 400,000 people, Jewish people living, right? 400,000. The same amount are living abroad. So either you approach it as diminishing Jewish communities, or you approach it, what I suggest, from another perspective. What does it mean, relocation of Jewish life abroad? Mainly in the United States and in Israel? And what does it mean, this new interconnectedness of Jewish life, of global life, of contemporary life? So therefore, I would say, in Mexico, we have around 35, 40,000 Jews living. As in Italy, people think we are 1 million, of course. In Latin America, people think that millions of Jews live, and you have an explanation for that. Where Jews and Jewish communities are located, socially, culturally, economically, first. Second, which is very important, the density, the organized institutional density of Jewish life. Take, for example, Mexico, right? Over there, when Jewish immigration arrived, as other foreign immigrations, European, there one school was founded, right? There was the German school, there was the French school, the lycée, there was the Jewish school. Today, at the beginning of the 21st century, you have a French lycée, you have a German school, and you have 17 Jewish institutions, educational institutions, day schools. This is a kind of inner creativity, of inner force, of institutional density, I would say, that of course has a very, very important impact on societies at all. Now, what I started, and I refer to this transnational look, because today, when I refer to 400,000, close to 400,000 Jews living abroad, I refer of Latin American Jews in Israel, but also in the United States. And over there, I would add something that Malcolm referred, which is that today in the United States, there are 50 million of people belonging to the Latino/Hispanic/Latin American Jewish community, right? Forget Jewish, Latin American communities. So then, of course, I have news for you. Right, no, right, originally Jews, right. So then, what I want to say,
$10 to each one.
what I want to say is that we are living in a, Jewish diaspora has always been global. Today is global and transnational, meaning by that the movements keep on going. Migration is not now only an individual decision, but migration influences the societies of origin and the societies of destination. So in this transnational world, I would suggest to look, first of all, the role and place of Israel, which has been always essential, central, and fundamental for Jewish Latin American life, today is going through very important redefinitions, which means there are new centers, and we have to imagine how we build a Jewish life where different centers interact. Then secondly, I want to refer also that from the perspective of Latin American Jews, there is something I want to share with you also as a surprise. You all know what has been the crisis, the economical crisis and political crisis that have gone through the different countries in Latin America, especially the southern cone, right? Argentina, Chile, Brazil, etc. Recently was released the study of the New York community. And over there, among the data that Steve Cohen shared with us this week, is that poverty is increasing. A few weeks ago was released the last study, Jewish poverty, was released the study by the Joint, right, in Europe, all the study of all the European countries. And over there, among the priorities that were defined was poverty and inequality. Of course, Latin America, the southern part, as you know, has gone through. So I do think that today, globalization has brought the Jewish world in what I would say convergences, social convergences, economic convergences, and of course, cultural some values. Having said so, let me approach final two comments. First of all, I do think that diversity and plurality is part of our Jewish world, and we have to face it. Identities are diverse, and there are divides and there are separations. And there are different axes around the Jewish world might be seen both as powerful and also as vulnerable. In the diaspora and in Israel. So if we can think in global terms, the way we really benefit from this past and present interaction, we can really approach, I would say, with much more resources, intellectual resources, of course, different resources, some of the main challenges that we are facing.
Thank you so much.